Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to show you how to cook a perfect steak. When you go to a restaurant and you order a steak and it's cooked to perfection, don't you just want to run to the kitchen and hug the chef that cooked it? Because cooking a perfect steak could be a true art. And I want to share some tips with you, so let's get started. And of course, the first thing you need to do is to choose the right cut for your steak. And I like sirloin, ribeye, flank steak, or filet mignon. Today I will be choosing filet mignon. It has some nice marbleization in it, so I think it's gonna be just perfect. Choosing the right salt for your steak is also very important. Here's my choices. You can either use the Kosher salt, Fleur de Sel, what I'm going to use today, Moldon salt, or Himalayan salt. Don't over season your steak with a lot of spices, especially if you're serving it with a sauce. We're also going to need some butter, 30 grams for the sauce and 20 grams of butter for cooking the steak cut in half. For the sauce, we're gonna need green peppercorns in brine, and it's a peppercorn and its natural stage, which is green, and it's nice and tender. I will share the link where I got mine, but those are just gonna be perfect for the sauce we're gonna be making for our steak. And we're gonna need about 2 tablespoons of green peppercorns. For the sauce, we're also going to need 1 red onion or 2-3 shallots. To flavor the butter, we're also going to need marjoram, which is also called oregano in some Middle Eastern countries, and it's going to give our steak nice pine and citrusy flavor. To thicken our sauce, we're also going to need double cream, which is also known as Devon cream. It's almost impossible to find it here in US, so here is the cream I found that's going to be the closest thing to the double cream. It's called creme fraiche, and it's a very thick cream, or you can use just a heavy whipping cream. We need about 200 grams of it. As a sauce base, I'm going to use the bone broth. It's a beef bone broth, but you could use just a beef stock. We need about 350 milliliters of bone broth. We're also going to need some cooking oil, and I'm using avocado oil. We're going to finely chop our red onion, and every time you do a fine chop, of course, you're going to need some sharp knife, because sharp knife is always a safe knife. And I like to sharpen my knives every time I do a fine dice or just perhaps dice anything. As a reminder, instead of red onion, you can use shallots. I went to the store today, I found no shallots. So red onion it is. We're just gonna finely dice the red onion. To make your sauce, you're gonna need 2.5 quart saucepan with a heavy bottom, in which we're gonna put our butter, 30 grams of butter. When the butter melts and kind of starts making that sizzling noise, we're gonna drop our finely chopped onion, and we're gonna saute this onion until it's almost translucent. You don't need to brown your onions, since the brownness of the onion can give our sauce a little bit of bitterness. So as long as the onions are soft and translucent, we're gonna put our green peppercorns in it, and we're just gonna give it a stir. Let the peppercorns and the onions cook for about a couple minutes, and then we're gonna pour our bone broth. We're gonna leave our heat on high, and we need to reduce this liquid in half. I have to brag a little bit, forgive me. I got a new stove, and it has this very unique burner. It's called the even heat burner, so which is going to be perfect for cooking steaks. Add about 2 tablespoons of cooking oil to your skillet and heat it up. Always keep your steak in the fridge before cooking it, because cooking cold steak will allow you to control the temperature and will result in a perfect steak. So we need to season it generously with salt, and always drop your steak on a sizzling pan, because when your pan sizzles, it allows you to create a nice crust on the steak and seal the juices. Sear your steak for about 2 minutes, then season the other side of the steak, and then we're gonna turn it over and look at this crust on the steak. It's absolutely beautiful. You might not be able to do this step if you cook in a much thinner steak, but on a filet mignon, since it's a thicker cut of a steak, I like to cook it all the way around. So I'm just gonna lift my steaks and I'm gonna let them also brown on the sides, and I think it's gonna look much better for presentation also. And the next step I'm gonna do is called bathing. So we're just gonna bathe our steak in butter. What butter is gonna do for our steak is gonna help us to develop a lot of flavor in our steak. And by dropping this marjoram in our butter, we're just gonna bathe our steak in this flavorful butter, which will be absolutely delicious. I prefer my steak medium rare. Well, how can you tell it's done without using a thermometer? Well, here's the tip, and it's in your hand. The top of your hand is medium rare, the medium is medium, and the beginning of your wrist is well done. All you need to do is just to touch your meat like you touch your hand, and you will be able to tell if your meat is done. My steaks are cooked to medium rare, and the next important step is letting your steak to rest. So we're gonna put it on a cooling rack with a plate underneath it, and we're just gonna cover it and let it rest for about 5 minutes, and that's how much time we need to finish our sauce. Let's go back to our sauce, and as you can see, the liquid has reduced to almost half, and that's going to intensify the flavor of our sauce. And at this point, we're going to drop our double cream in it. We're just going to mix it together, and we're going to let it reduce for another 10 minutes, just so our sauce thickens a little bit. And at this point, you can taste your sauce. And if it needs more salt, you can add more salt. We also can add just a couple shakes of freshly ground black pepper, and we're gonna let our sauce reduce a little bit more. As you noticed, I am not using any flour for thickening my sauce, which is gonna be a great dish for people on a keto diet. Turn off the heat and our sauce is ready. Let's check on our steak, and that's why we needed a cooling rack, because as you can see, all the juices, kind of bloody juices, is on the other plate, not on the serving plate. So we're ready to cut into our steak. By cutting into this steak, I'm just hoping this palm of your hand method worked, and this steak is perfectly cooked to medium rare. And it is. Look at this, guys. It's absolutely beautiful. The steak has a beautiful buttery crust, and it is red in the middle, but this middle is not cold. It's warm to the touch, so it's perfectly cooked medium rare steak. All we need to do is just pour some sauce over it, and we're ready to dig into this beautiful steak. There are different varieties of steak sauces out there, but this one, as you can see, not very thick sauce, which is also served as a side dish to your steak, so you can just enjoy it solo without any side dishes, without any potatoes or rice, or even a salad. So just enjoy the steak. It is a beautiful steak, and it's certainly cooked perfectly. So you can just run to my kitchen and give me a hug. How about that, guys? I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.